Welcome to the Activations with JJ Energy Update for the week of August 16th, 2021. I'm so glad to have you here with me to connect and to continue on this journey, this very fascinating journey that we're on. Over the last several days, there have definitely been some traumatic events on the planet. I feel like I've tapped into or received some information just through social media. There's been a theme, almost like synchronicities, a lot of healing work being done. Things are coming to the surface, coming to the light. And then, of course, as I said before, there have definitely been physical changes to the planet, which has resulted in disaster. There's been war, and there's also been good things, but I've tapped into that energy as well. So it's a little bit like a roller coaster. I know that many of you are experiencing expansion and you're experiencing highs and lows. Expansion comes through highs and lows. One of the themes that I've noticed is that we're still shedding some cultural programming surrounding good versus evil, surrounding the duality that religion often presents. And I want to remind you to try to come into a place and a space in your mind and in your heart where you can start to see things as one, the non-dualism aspect of things. And you may even want to read about that, understand that a little bit more. You may feel drawn to different books or podcasts that speak a little bit more than I am going to right now. But again, it's a subconscious programming we hold on to, and it creates a lot of fear. And as long as we're living in fear, then our vibration is going to be different than if our vibration were low. I don't like to judge it as a bad vibration. It's just different. So depending on what your intention is over the next little while, if you want to align yourself more with love, take a moment to think about that subconscious programming, that programming that often isn't apparent right on the surface. I've been working with a lot of clients and sensing that need for healing or some changing of those stories, those cultural insights that have come over centuries, right? This is ancestral things, ancestral beliefs, and even DNA. That has come up so much with some people during my one-on-one sessions. I do want to let you know that you can feel free to reach out to me if you feel like you're ready to take that step towards identifying some of that cultural programming that might be creating fear. Sometimes it's hard for us to identify those things, and we need an outside source to kind of guide us in that. I feel like for me personally, my journey started where I reached out to a lot of different healers, a lot of different people, channels. And as time has gone by, I'm learning how to become self-sufficient in that area. But there's always a time and a place for an outside person who you trust to identify and to help you see things that you couldn't previously see. This is a collective effort. In some of my future Zoom live gatherings, I plan on doing group healings where we can do that together as a collective. And again, I do feel like even doing it in a group setting can be more powerful sometimes. Speaking of those one-on-one sessions, I've had a few this week too, where people are wanting to reach out to their star families or at least understand and know where they come from. So that's always an interesting thing to do as I travel down that path with people. And it's interesting to connect to different races, to different interdimensional races that I've never connected to before. And one came up this week that I thought I would try to bring through today for us in the energy update. It felt very loving, and interestingly enough, it was a reptilian race, but it was a very high vibration reptilian race that came through. I also felt kind of like amphibian vibes as well. So I'm trying to figure out if this particular race was reptilian / amphibian, but I hope that when they come through, they can kind of identify who they are. They don't always say exactly where they come from in the universe, because sometimes our understanding is not to the width and breadth that they can even explain that to us. But I do feel like that I've tapped in with them and I can sort of see where they come from. They have a very unique light language that also came through and that I was not familiar with at all. But that may come through here today and we'll see what happens. But it was easier for me to bring through their energy when I started off with their light language. Although now that I've tapped into them, I think I can bring it through without doing that. But let's go ahead and get into a meditative state as we normally do during the energy updates and see what words this particular race has for us, this reptilian / amphibian race. We come through in kindness and love, connecting with you from a very far distant planet. A galaxy where our kind is more prevalent. We tend to be more on the amphibian side, yet there are some aspects of our being that you may consider reptilian. We dwell for the most part in water, and there was a time at the beginning of this planet when races from all over the galaxy and universes came to the Earth at the request of the Atlanteans to work with their scientists and see if it would be possible for us to dwell on this planet as well. Although that relationship flourished for a time, it became apparent that those living in Atlantis, those who were in power, were not acting from their heart center. And we saw a need to break off our contact with them. By that time, many of us had become acclimated to the planet and had families. Many of us hid and found refuge in places scattered throughout the planet. We shifted our vibration and have since dwelt in a way that we are not noticed. Therefore, we have seen much of the trauma and drama that has ensued on the planet being largely populated in the 3D by a barbaric, somewhat warlike race. We come out of hiding and wish to reconnect with many of our human brothers and sisters. We wish to take this moment where we have been invited to share an energy update and give you insights as to the future of the planet and the future of your existence as a high vibrational being along with us. The first is to shed all fear regarding alien races that may look different than you. There are alien races that look very similar to the humans. The Pleiadians, many of the different Pleiadians do look somewhat similar to you human beings. However, we We do not. Yet we wish to tell you, if you begin to see us in dreams or in visions, we are simply beginning to present ourselves in order to eventually come into contact with you in the physical, once your energy has been calibrated to one similar to ours. You may see representations of us in movies or in fantasy worlds described by authors. Those are also preparing people to come into contact with us. We dwell, for the most part, near bodies of water, and not seawater but fresh water. In addition, our second point is to let you know that we are holding space for humankind to begin to live from their heart, to begin to live from a place of love more fully. There have been many way showers. There have been many who have stepped into this energy and began to create a vibration that is spreading throughout the planet, and many of you can be considered in that group. We thank you for the heart work that you are doing in healing and moving forward in your vibration in order to create this new earth of a higher vibration. Our third point is to remind you to open yourselves up, to unite and to communicate and to connect with people who do not look like you, who do not come from the same background you come from, so that you can begin to understand that all are one. You will be drawn to gather in the physical and through your digital electronic world with a variety of people for a reason, for it will be a microcosm of what could be seen as the Galactic Federation, where races of all kinds come together for peace and from a love for the universe. When you begin to do this and begin to reject the idea that the only people you can connect with have to look like you, act like you, speak like you, come from a similar background as you, then you will be able to shift this world and this humanity far more rapidly, propelling it into the higher vibration which you seek, in which you have contracted to assist with. We again invite you to tap into the love that we have for humanity. We are nearby. Although our ancestors came again from a place very far away from this planet, we consider this place our home. We share it with you. We dwell again on a different dimension that you cannot see with your eyes, but many of us are here, and we are also assisting in this shift. Thank you for receiving this message, and we will now depart. Wow, that was a really unique visual that I got as I was relaying the information. It is almost like a frog, but a humanoid frog. And that was nothing I've ever done before. I've never considered tapping into that kind of energy. It reminded me of something I've seen on TV, and Some of you may know what I'm talking about, but there's a show where there are frogs, but they're humanoid frogs. They stand on 2 feet and they're like as tall as a human. Usually Hollywood does not get their inspiration from nowhere. They're definitely usually tapped into something. So the fact that those type of beings have popped up, it's not fantastical. It's definitely based in a reality that we need to begin to embrace, because this is where we're shifting to understanding the differences between the way we may appear, but the fact that we all come from one source. And I love that that's what they recommended we do. So again, much of our programming is taught on the visual, on the appearance. That's how we, that kind of tribal instinct. But as we evolve, we will begin to collect with people more from their vibration, not from their physical appearance. And that's really what I think they were talking about, because even as I do my gatherings via Zoom, I feel like we're collecting the same vibration, and I do not know where everybody's going to come from. We may not find any similarities in our day-to-day lives, but our vibration is similar, and that's what we're gathering based on. As we do that, I believe this shift will be facilitated more easily, and it will become much more natural to us to see things through our energetic eyes and analyze and assess things according to their vibration rather than their physical appearance. Thank you so much for taking a moment to share this energy update and co-create with me. If you can, take a moment and like and subscribe the YouTube channel, as well as leave a comment. I would really appreciate that. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can also leave a review and a rating. Usually in the comments of the YouTube channel, I have put the link to a form you can fill out to find out about these upcoming Zoom gatherings that I keep referring to. Those are going to happen in September. So check out the comment section there and you'll find that link. Finally, as always, I'd like to leave you with these words. The divinity within me honors the divinity within you. Namaste.